So I don't believe in this stuff. Like, I don't believe in astrology. I'm not very religious either. Like, it's just not me. My girl is the opposite. My girl is very, like, we saw Book of Mormon. I don't know if you guys ever seen that, and she wasn't laughing. She was like, this is kind of like, she's not blasphemous. She thinks it's wrong to say, like, God damn. And so she's like, all right, like, every time I go, Jesus Christ, she goes, all right, relax.
Right.
She's super cool, but she just doesn't, she believes in that stuff.
That's cool.
She believes in God and all that.
I respect her for that. That's cool.
She's super respectful. I'm like, oh, hey, I was an altar boy, but I believe in Netflix. Like, you know, I'm more of a Netflix kid. Anyways, you gotta laugh. Good. Anyways, so I tell her, she knows my viewpoints, which is like, hey, I believe in science. I'm a science dude. Her cousin dies. She has a cousin. I'm 31 years old. This guy was around the same age. He's a motorcycle dude. He does a lot of like YouTube videos on the motorcycles, whatever. He does a motorcycle thing on the highway, gets hit by a car, cracks his skull, and he has brain damage, and he eventually dies. So I was in the hospital with her whole entire family. Dominican family, country Dominican. They're like cowboys pretty much, but they're in DR. And bruja is a witch. Brujeria is like witchcraft in Spanish.
That's your compliment next week.
Santeria is like Puerto Rican. Brujeria is like Dominican, right?
Okay.
So she has told me, I've always joked with her, like we've watched like scary movies like Hereditary and Paranormal Activity. I go, I don't believe that shit. She goes, Mike, I've seen some wacky shit. And I go, I could get the fuck out of here, okay? If you see a ghost, I'm leaving the house. Like, shut the fuck up, right? You're like, I don't believe that stuff. We're at the hospital, and her cousin is about to pass away. He's a nice guy. I met him a few times. He was a really nice kid. He was a fucking gangster. He rode up motorcycles. He was fucking the real deal. Fucking Bronx gangster. He dies. Right before he dies, one of her aunts gets into this crazy sweat. And all the women in the family go around her. They put a towel
at the hospital.
At the hospital, they put a towel around her head. She's shaking, convulsing. My girl goes up to me. She
That's
goes,
like me in the Uber.
She goes, my aunt. Yeah, I know. She just had too much kratom. So she goes. My aunt has a history of feeling presence. Like she has a history of feeling paranormal things. Like she sees ghosts. Like she is the medium of our family, and she starts fucking convulsing, and she's going crazy. But this was like a 7-year-old woman, and it was so random. Like the doctor was like, "Hey, he might be okay. Like, like we don't know what's gonna happen, whatever." And she just starts fucking going ham, and everybody's around her, like waving her down. And she goes, "I saw him. I saw him. I felt him. I felt him, and he told me he loved you. Like I felt it, whatever." And he dies right after.
Oh.
And I go, what the fuck? Like literally, my girl comes out. My girl was with her cousin. My girl was with her sister. Holding him, and the doctor's like, he's got severe brain damage. We don't know what's gonna happen, and he's looking at my girl. This is my girl. My girl comes out of the ER, and she looks at me, and she goes, "Mike, I saw him, and he was crying, but he's like, he noticed us, But he was crying. It was so sad. I was so scared. My girl was like in tears. She's like, it was really weird. I hope he's okay. He's gonna be all right. The doctor said it's good that he recognizes us. This is great. The fucking aunt is going crazy." I say aunt, but she was her grandma's sister. So what would that be?
Great aunt.
Her great aunt. So she's fucking going crazy, whatever. And she looks at everybody and she goes, "I just saw him." Says his name. "I just saw him," and he says that he loves you all. And then we're like, "What? Oh, okay. What? How did?" We're like, "I'm like, yo, this is some bullshit."
I didn't get the email.
And then the doctor, I didn't get it. It wasn't on the Google Drive.
I wasn't on the Google.
And then the doctor comes out and goes, "He just passed away. I'm so sorry." I was like, I'm moving out.
So as a non-believer, how do you reconcile this?
Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe she just threw all her cards in that he was going to die. Maybe she's like, everybody's here. The doctor are saying this is an emergency. Maybe she was just like, he's going to die. Maybe it was her own. Maybe it was a panic attack on her part. And she was like, this is, oh God, this is so bad. My nephew, he's going to die. He's going to die. I want everyone to feel okay. And guys, he loves us all. Perhaps that's what it was.
Is that what you think it was?
I don't think it was that because I watched her I fucking I could act, I could lie, I could make pretend, I could fucking sell it. I could sell anything. Yeah. And I was like, this bitch sold that shit. You know, so at first I was like, is she? I was like, wait, no, this is kind of weird. Like giving her water, putting it, like she was in it. Yeah. And I've met her before this, and I never got. She was so. I met this lady before this. She was such a sweet woman. She was had no like. I've never seen her get like convulsive or anything. And to see her go from 0 to 100, I was like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on?
Did that make you believe a little bit?
I believe that maybe I don't know. Maybe there's some people out there that have a gift, perhaps.
I'm wondering if it's like the highest level of empath. You know?
I feel like it's a mental thing. I feel like if you mentally believe that you are that, you will admit it. You know what I mean? You will act that like it.
But then
you know
that thing has to exist, though.
Either the thing has to exist or you're so convinced.
But convinced that what? Because if she's
something
able
happens
to
make you convinced.
if she's able to tap into this energy, then you have to also buy into that there is an energy that's released when we die, and she's able to tap into that.
Perhaps. You know what? Honestly, I hope so.
Me too.
Me too.
I hope so. I think that's kind of cool.
Shannon has stuff to make up. In the end.
Yes, I'll just do it after when I'm dead.
I don't know. I'm
I'll have all
horny
the
and
sex
scared. Well, this episode made me horny and scared.
That's what this show's all about, babe.